Hey guys, and welcome back. And today I want to talk about a brand new NAS from QNAP. I want to talk about the TVS-x72N. Now, it's worth highlighting that although I say this is a new NAS, this is actually a reinterpretation of an existing NAS that many of you have requested. Those that followed my QNAP Q&A with the UK team that just opened their new office will know that this was something that a lot of you have asked about. Now, for those that aren't aware, the XT series is an old Thunderbolt range. I say old, it's not even a year old. And the XT series from QNAP arrived in a 4, a 6 and an 8 bay. It was a far more affordable yet far more powerful new release in the Thunderbolt range. And a lot of you purchased the 4 or the 6 or the 8 bay because of its raw hardware power, but not because of the Thunderbolt ports. And you ended up paying a premium because you wanted a number of the features and functionality of that range regardless of Thunderbolt connectivity. What makes this particularly interesting is the new N series gives you almost all of the hardware options of the XT series, but does away with Thunderbolt and gives you a far more affordable package. Now, straight off the bat, I'm saying affordable. I don't know the retail cost of this device. I do think it will be a good chunk more affordable, and I think comparable to something in the region of the 7.3 series. But the 72N series will arrive as a 6 bay and an 8 bay NAS. Both will arrive currently with a quad-core i3 8th generation CPU. So that's that new Intel CPU, which has got graphical embedding and a whole bunch of advantages to the average NAS user, be you prosumer, so top-end home, or you're a business user that wants to use it for things like surveillance, media. If you're a home user, you want to use it for things like Plex Media Server, or both of you for that QVR Pro support, which it will of course arrive with those 8 camera licenses. Now, the advantages behind this device, which are very, very similar to that of the XT, should be covered. Hopefully on the screen there'll be images or something on the side. The 72N series will arrive with 5 gigabit Ethernet. Now, its predecessor, I say the predecessor, the unit that is going to be the most compared against, the XT, that arrived with 10 gigabit Ethernet and Thunderbolt, whereas this does away with both of those and gives you 5 gigabit Ethernet as standard. That is 5 GBE, which is completely backwards compatible with your standard 1 gigabit Ethernet, but of course opens the door to faster network speeds and serves as a middle point as well with users that utilize 10 GBE that don't want to upgrade a bunch of systems. How easy is it to upgrade to 5 GBE? Well, QNAP will tell you with the 5G1T. Now, I talked about this last month here on the channel. This is a USB 3 to 5 gigabit Ethernet adapter, and this device, once connected to a Mac, Windows or Linux machine, will give you 5 gigabit Ethernet connectivity, which then this can connect to that device and give you direct 5 gigabit Ethernet traffic, 5 times that of traditional speeds. Now, why is this important? Well, perhaps you're editing HD video, perhaps you want to do faster backups to your system, or you're dealing with a particularly dense media and you need to rely on something a little bit more beefy than your traditional Ethernet. This does give you that in QNAP's classic form, and that CPU inside, backed with DDR4 memory as well, which will probably arrive in a variant of versions, hopefully on screen right now, is a great platform to be working forward from. Now, is there compromise? Definitely not. What you've got is a different angle on an existing device, which makes it not only more affordable but definitely more approachable to that middle range of users that were never going to take advantage of the 40 gigabit theoretical top speed of Thunderbolt connectivity. Don't get me wrong, loads of the hardware features are still there, ones such as that 5 GBE port being supported by single 1 GBE connectivity as well. As they've done away with Thunderbolt and 10 GBE, you've got 2 PCIe slots that enable everything from 10 gigabit Ethernet to SSD cache cards to 40 GBE cards as well, even 25 GBE cards too. All of these cards, one way or another, are compatible with this device, which allow you to scale the costs accordingly. On the subject of caching, this device also has 2 NVMe SSD slots inside. That means that you can put inside super fast NVMe based SSD with between 1800 and 3000 megabits per second transmission, megabytes per second I should say, but Unlike a number of other NAS brands, this device allows you to utilize those slots for not only SSD caching and their popular Q tier, but on top of that, raw storage. You can have an area of storage in your device that is insanely fast comparatively, and that can be used for priority files, priority media, or if you're using a PCIe card or that 5GB port, much faster editing of the files on that storage area. More ports on the rears, hopefully showing on screen. There is HDMI 2.0A, which for those that want to enjoy media on this device from things like Plex or natively with Plex own media apps or other DLNA media server applications too. A number of them are supported with HDMI out applications that allow you to watch that incredibly dense media such as 4K at 60 frames per second completely fluidly with this port on supported devices. And again, if you are going to enjoy media like that, if you've watched my videos as Plex performance upgrades and things I recommend to you, then I definitely recommend you check out HDMI 2.0 and 2.0A NASs. I've done a whole comparison on those and let you understand the advantages to them. On top of that, when it comes to speed, another area this device really does excel is the fact that it supports USB 3.1 Gen 2 or USB 3.2 Gen 2 or any one of the different myriad of names of just saying it's the 10 gigabit speed of USB on this that you can connect those much faster external drives, and even some peripheral devices are arriving in USB 3.1 Gen 2. This device can support, and this NAS can support a number of those. Now, as it stands, it's only arriving in 6 and 8 bay. There is no 4 bay being discussed. And on top of that, the device has got that 5GBE and it's got that i3 inside, but there's no mention of the i5 8th generation that we saw in the XT series. But there is so much going on with this device, and I think it's a little tactical move on QNAP's part to not release it as a 4 bay. But if you're a Plex media server shopper towards the end of 2019, definitely look into this device, because I do think you're going to be looking at about $1,000 probably for the 6 bay device. But that i3, 5 gigabit Ethernet, network connectivity and NIC upgrades for those PCIe slots, as the HDMI 2.0 on the external, and those NVMe SSD cache slots inside that can be used for caching or raw storage are just one of a million reasons, say a million, one of about 25 reasons why this is definitely a NAS that you need to pay attention for. With Synology releasing and unveiling, I should say, a number of their new releases, I'm going to be interested to see what they can put on the table in 2019 and early 2020 that's going to beat this in terms of hardware and price. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Check out the NAS Compare article in the link below, as well as visiting span.com to learn more about NAS and get your NAS today. 25 years in the biz and know what they're doing. And if you've enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe and click the bell to be more notified about new releases as and when they happen. But cheerio and see you next time.